What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode. So, Intel. It's been a second since all three of us have been together, but we definitely have been texting, talking, and doing a lot of things behind the scenes, just trying to figure out kind of what's going on, kind of in this downtime right here. But people, we are less than counting tomorrow, 14 Saturdays without college football. So, if you're not excited,
99 days, bro. 99 days.
exactly. So if you're not excited about that, I don't know. But of course, let's do the round table. Horns Down podcast, Sooners 360 podcast, Hall of Fame college football podcast with Jason and the coach. Fellas, how you guys doing? We're back.
It's doing good. Recruiting is actually alive and well again.
And let's just go ahead and jump right into it since you talked about it. We got to commit today. Got a couple of commits over the past week or so. The Bentley stuff is and O'Neal stuff is kind of heating up again. Yeah. So Chris Mason, just talk about the recruits that the commits that we landed, if you would, just to start, and then give us some more notes about recruiting.
Yeah, so today OU landed Brian Harris, a defensive tackle from Jacksonville, Florida. He's 6'4", 290. He's a 4-star on Rivals. They have him as the number 20 defensive tackle in the country. I think he's probably badly underrated and undervalued. He won the Rivals Florida camp event D-line MVP trophy. Last year on a good defense, you can tell when you watch his highlights, you can see that there's 11 guys flying to the ball. I mean, good athletes flying all over the field. So on that defense, he had 29 tackles from the defensive end position, 10.5 for loss and 4.5 sacks. So from an interior defensive lineman, that's pretty high production. And in the highlights, he's constantly in the backfield. He may not be making the plays. He's not always making the tackle, but he's disrupting everything that pursuit is just cleaning stuff up for him. I mean, he's blowing stuff up left and right. Josh McCuistion compared him to Adrian Taylor. Do you remember him? From the 2008 championship team. Would have been probably a second-round NFL pick if he didn't smash his ankle against Stanford in that Sun Bowl in 2009. He was from Mansfield, Texas, so I think that's a pretty good comp. His physically on the hoof, he kind of looks like David Stone at IMG his junior year. So that's kind of where his potential, that's where his ceiling is. He's long, athletic, twitchy, explosive, all those things. He has those NFL traits that Jim Nagy wants. So I like this pickup a lot. It means with him in the fold, it means that Bates can go aggressively after some of the other defensive tackles he's looking at. I kind of listed them off to in an OU chat room I'm in, and it's 6'4", 290, 6'5", 285. 6'4", 285, 6'4", 295. There's a theme here. Big, active offensive lineman who can play. Yep, Sugo English one. Yeah, he's already 290. He'll be 300 in a heartbeat, and play 3-tech at 300.
Let's get away from it.
Yeah. So you're just seeing guys where they look like SEC defensive tackles, which generally looks like NFL defensive tackles. We didn't meet last week because we were all kind of busy with stuff. But OU also picked up Ja'Cory Smith, linebacker from Arkansas. If Arkansas better watch it, OU's sort of building a little bit of a pipeline for defenders there. And Ja'Cory Smith, if you liked Omarion Robinson last year at safety, which I did, I thought he was a very big pickup for OU. Ja'Cory Smith kind of looks like that at linebacker. All over the field, making plays everywhere. He looks like a great will linebacker. When you watch him, it's hard not to make Kip Lewis comps. They were both undersized linebackers in high school who just made plays everywhere. He's 6'1", 195. probably he may be a little bigger than that, but that's what he was at the end of last year. I exchanged a couple of chats with him. Good guy. And he's transferred high schools, and one of his high school teammates is OU defensive end target Matthew Nelson, who I think is also going to end up in the class. He's moved up his official visit. And I think there's a good chance that OU gets him as well. So OU's got some momentum going. I like the pickups. I think Smith and Harris could be linchpins of a future OU defense on two levels at linebacker and defensive tackle. So things are moving up. There's, OU fans haven't quite got used to the fact that, we kind of take recruiting hits in May when everybody else is getting their official visits in. And then Brent launches what I dubbed on my Patreon site and on my podcast as the OU recruiting counteroffensive is coming, right? It's kind of like we take our hits, everyone attacks us. We kind of, our lines buckle. And then in June, OU counterattacks and swarms with their big weekends. And their big weekends are getting stacked with a lot of players. I won't go into great detail on that. But what I can say is, Chris and Jason, is OU made a lot of new offers in April and May when Nagy finally got his hands into high school film. And for the majority of those guys that we're offering lately, those kids are dumping schools and putting OU on their visit schedule. I'll just talk about one, Tyler Ruxer, the tight end from Indiana, who just visited. Really good on film, 6'4", 220. He's a true two-way tight end when you watch his film. He's blocking guys. He's blocking guys into the ground. He knows what he's doing at tight end. He runs a 4.6. He's a good athlete. And he just visited over the weekend. I don't know if they hid Joe John Finney in a closet or something, but he had a great visit. And he's bumped one of his other teams to come back to OU June 6th. And you're seeing that a lot. Like, OU's offering me, let me dump somebody and get to OU as quick as possible. So I think that's a great positive sign about what's going on. And Brandon Drum was talking about it. He talked with Ruxer, and he said that on his podcast, and he was saying that, Nagy offered him and found him. And that I think we're going to see this more and more. We need to be prepared for offers out of nowhere because Nagy and his staff have found high school film, given it to the OU coaches. The OU coaches see it and say, yeah, that guy's great. And OU engages and maybe, it may not be the long-term guys that we're used to. It may be that film that they delay some of their offers and they make more offers in spring and in some, late spring when they've had a chance to look at more film and find more guys. So that's my long-winded answer to OU's getting some recruiting momentum, and the Nagy offers, which all look really good on film. Those guys are highly interested in OU and they're bumping their previous visits to get to Norman. So that's a real positive. Maybe if Nagy was making all these offers in April and OU wasn't getting anywhere with these kids, it would be like, well, what's the point, right? That's kind of depressing. But Nagy's finding kids that are actively very interested in their OU offers and are dumping other schools to come to Norman.
I was a little slow on the draw here, but for that little comment that you made there about Joe John, I'll go ahead and do that. But nah, man, it feels like the last couple of years you've seen this a lot. The last couple of years in recruiting, to where that they're not picking up everybody in February, March, April. They're getting them whenever they're going on all their official visits, and they're making big pushes. This is when you know that you're going to recruit as well as they have been. And look, we know last year that their recruiting ranking fell because they just didn't have as many guys. Their average recruit, and it's like you said, on the hoof, they always look good. And this kid is no different. I mean, I really like Brian Harris, man. That watching his film, he just looks like he knocked the shit out of anybody.
Well, he's darting through the line, right? Like you see the snap, and all of a sudden it's like he's in the.
He finally feels a little Okoye-ish. You know what I mean? He's just explosive. Getting through the line.
Yeah, and again he's He's from Florida. He was originally from Philadelphia, apparently. But I like him on film. I think he's badly underrated. And again, sometimes I say he's badly underrated. Some people come back, well, who else wants him? Well, Michigan, Penn State, Alabama, and South Carolina were his final 5.
Well, Jonathan Lewis is in our comment section, and he was doing a live stream during his commitment today. And I mean, he's an Alabama guy, but he was even saying in there, he's like, I think he's going to Oklahoma. So,
well, he said he verbaled silently 3 weeks ago to Bates.
Yeah.
So, but again, you got Penn State who's producing nothing but NFL D line. Really, if you think about Penn State's what they've been doing the best. Their front 7 is really good. Michigan, same thing. Alabama's been producing D-line forever. And South Carolina, as we sadly experienced last year, has a really good D-line. And if you look at the NFL, there are South Carolina D-line grads all over the place. So I think taking him from those schools is a really positive sign. And I was surprised that he verbaled to OU without his official visit a little bit. When he said he was announcing, I was like, oh, man, we're not getting Harris because he's not made his official to Norman yet. So both him and Ja'Cory Smith jumped on board before their official visits to kind of grab their spots. So don't be surprised. Sooner Cowboys is right. Derek Moore, that guy would have been a really good Sooner. Don't be surprised if a couple more guys maybe feel like they need to pull the trigger before they officially visit, because OU, we're another defensive lineman committee away from things getting a little tight.
Hey, Chris Mason, can you talk about the cheetah, the kid that committed him?
He's from Arizona. He's from Chandler, I believe. He's 5'11", 195 pounds. He's really fast. If you told me he had to play safety for OU, I'd be like, I'm not seeing enough coverage stuff. And if you told me he had to play linebacker, I was like, well, I don't think he's going to be big enough to play linebacker. But at Cheetah, I think he could be an excellent fit for what OU does. He attacks downhill very, very well. He's very fast. He's explosive. I think sometimes he wants to blow people up a little bit too much. And there's a couple of targeting hits in his highlight reel, but the coaches will work on that. He's not the only player I've ever seen with a bunch of targeting hits.
Better to have to turn them down than turn them up.
So he's very active. I think if you were playing a slightly different scheme, I think you might be like, well, how does he fit in what we do? But with OU, with the Cheetah, he could be a very effective weapon he gets downhill. He blows up the short passing game. He blitzes off the edge in the run game, and also, QB blitzes and sacks. He hits. He's getting hits and knocking people around. So I think he's a good fit for what OU does at Cheetah.
Here's Sooners Cowboys, and this is the comp that I what was given on that kid as far as Sooner Cowboys is saying. I watched some of his highlights today, bro. He hits like Boganowski or Powers. So Boganowski was definitely a comp that was
he's not as big as he's not as tall, as long as Boganowski.
Yeah.
And Powers had better coverage highlights. The only question I have is his stats at a high school are very linebacker-like.
Yeah.
So, and his highlight reel doesn't have like a pass deflection or an interception in it. Now, he's blowing guys up left and right, so it's not a problem. And he looks like he does a pretty good job in short space and coverage. He's not really tested long in any of his highlights, so maybe that's because his brother's getting to the quarterback and beating him up before they can throw it deep. But if you think about how OU uses, if you imagine the short yardage defending Dolby was doing for us and the way Dolby was blowing plays up.
Yeah.
This kid,
Isaiah Simmons being a ball hawk.
Sorry?
I don't remember Isaiah Simmons being a big ball hawk as far as getting picks and stuff like that either. He blew people up though.
We did. So it depends on what you want. I want our deep safeties, right? When I watch their highlights, I want to see INTs, pass defenses, deep passes, them staying with receivers deep and making plays on the ball, right? I mean,
Agreed.
that's what I want from our safety guys. At
Yeah.
Cheetah, I don't necessarily need to see that.
Well, I think
heads.
I think that you can. I think the kind of the common denominator about this, and I think this is what so many Sooner fans were really excited about on the defensive side of the ball, with Venables being at the helm, was that they go out there when Venables' recruiting style is to go get the best athlete. Go get the best athlete at that position. We can teach you how to play the game the right way. We can
Especially
teach
if you got a mean streak in you, right?
Exactly. If we can't teach you that, right?
Oh, and his motor, sorry to interrupt. His motor is nonstop. I mean, he runs super hot.
Yeah.
So, I to your point, I think, Brent doesn't want guys that that he has to, I don't think if you don't run hot on that defense, I just don't think you survive, right? I mean, I think that's what MJJ found out this spring, right? Like, dude, with Chavis barking at him, all the time. So, he wasn't, Daniels and Marvin Jones Jr. are both accused of sort of loafing a little bit, right? That's sort of what we got.
Coming in, they were, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they're not loafing in Norman. If you're not running hot, you're not playing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing is that look, I can teach you the game, but I can't teach you, effort, motor, intangibles, especially if he's instinctual as well. I mean, that's kind of really what you're wanting, because you can mold that. That's moldable, and that you can work with that. So that's one of the things that I'm excited about with Nagy being there and recruiting as well, because that mixes well for him to be able to go out there and get football players that BV and Bates and all those guys want, but also go get those guys where you can't necessarily teach some of those intangibles that they have, right?
You'd be like, Nagy's asking for like an Alex Caruso for football, right? Is that what he was? That's what he tweeted out. Nico Jandro could be kind of your Caruso of football kind of guy, right? Like, he makes plays everywhere. He's a matchup problem. He attacks quarterbacks from angles they're not expecting and from places they're not expecting. We know Brent loves doing that. And this kid can do all of those things. The only thing I don't see on tape is him sort of backpedaling and following a big wide receiver 40 yards downfield. He may be able to do that. It's just not in his highlights. But OU doesn't want their cheetahs doing that either.
Like Marcus Ben says, they like hitters, man. They like hitters. I love it.
Stan J. Ross, he says there's film on him playing deep and breaking up passes, and he also says the team he plays for, he plays 1-4s. I saw measurements. He's 6'1", 185.
Nah, he's guys. I've seen this kid in photos up against Nate Dreiling and Coach V. He is 5'11". He's 5'11". His brother's His brother's 6 foot. But and he didn't. He only recorded 2 pass breakups last year. That's fine. I mean, but he had 99 tackles. He had a whole bunch of tackles for losses, forced fumbles, and stuff. Again, if you have him, Powers, and maybe Malik Hawkins all swapping off at Cheetah, you've got matchup problems.
Yeah. Let's see. Sooner Cowboys, he jumps in here. He says, I think a key freshman this year could be Amarian Robinson. He may see some good playing time this year. What you guys think about that? Just a cool little sidebar real quick.
He has the talent. I just don't know if Jaden Hardy, Boganowski, and Powers are going to let him on the field.
Plus, is he more of a corner?
No, he's a safety. Plus RSJ and Peyton. Now, Peyton Bowen.
It's a pretty stacked room, man.
Peyton Bowen's foot is all still, screwed up, messed up, and Jaden started.
Jason was feeling better when I talked to him last week.
Okay, I think he'll be good. I mean, that's one of those surprises. I think for the OU defense is if you get the Peyton Bowen of 2023 back, watch out, right?
Yeah.
So if Jaden Hardy has to start in place of Bowen, then I think Omarion Robinson does move up a little bit. Yeah, but
is there Is there any other recruiting notes? What are the dates as far as some of the weekends if they put those out there?
Yeah.
That we should be
So,
looking out
well,
for?
we're going to get to the quarterback stuff in a little bit. Then there's some date stuff going on with the quarterback recruiting, which we'll get into. But June 6th is the first big weekend. Some names to watch there would be Matthew Nelson, Dallas Dickerson, the wide receiver from Georgia they just offered, who has the 10.3 100 speed and is probably 4.41, something like that in the 40. They just offered the running back from Missouri, Zephon Walker, who I think is going to come in, who's canceled a visit somewhere else, is going to come in. I like him on film. They've got, I think, Deacon Schmidt, the big tackle from Colorado, is coming in that weekend. So that's just a couple of names of some players that will be around Norman and should be in Norman on the 6th. The 20th is Jay Cruel. It's Felix Ojo. There's a couple of the other defensive tackles. It should be Valden-Sone, the big guy from Sweden that I've talked about, should be coming in as well. Nebraska flew out to Sweden to visit his family to try and get into that recruiting battle. So OU needs to fly Sony's parents in for his visit. So those are the two big weekends that are coming up. It's June 6th, and then the 20th, they may have some guys coming in on the 13th as they're shuffling new offers around and trying to get guys on campus and trying to make sure that, because at some point the 2 weekends they're almost too big for more guys to be pumped into them. So if they get a couple more visits coming in, like I said, Tyler Ruxer, the tight end, is coming in the 6th. If you get him and Ryder Mix, then that's tight end recruiting about as well as you can do it, on the college level right now. If you're not,
who would you say, as far as at least that first weekend, who would you say is you can't let him leave campus without, trying to get at least a silent commit, right?
Right. I would say the first weekend, it is probably, we'll get to this a little bit more, but it's probably, I would say Deacon Schmidt at right tackle, Noah Best at guard. Sooner in Texas, they're both scheduled to be there this weekend, on the weekend of the 20th. Did they make those visits? I don't know. I think Ojo will make the visit because he respects Bill too much to cancel it. I think that's his relationship. But the Texas needs to sign Felix Ojo. That's just the way it is. So what will their NIL deal be? But I think on the 6th, you want to get a couple of the offensive linemen. Ideally, you get I think you'd like to get Matthew Nelson, the defensive end from Arkansas that they really like, that's underrated but is just sky high potential. I think on the 20th is Donovan Webb, the safety from Texas that they really want. So those are some of the names. I mean, the quarterback thing is going to shake out the wide receiver thing a little bit. Do we need 3 wide receivers or 4, 3 or 2? Because right now, if they keep Daniel Odom, who looks really good as a top 100 type wide receiver, you really only need 2 more guys. And that could easily be Dallas Dickerson and Jordan Clay that you could grab. That would be the 2 guys I would grab out of that group. So in terms of, let me just double check my notes here about
Wait. Are you saying Odom, the kid from California that came?
Yes. He's saying he may stick. So we will see. If he doesn't, he doesn't, right? Noah Best, Deacon Schmidt, Dallas Dickerson, Tyler Ruxer, Tavion Branch, who's another big defensive tackle that OU probably leads on from Pennsylvania. He would be your big athletic nose guard. If you can't get Valden-Sone, you get Tavion Branch. And he's 6'3", 285, 290. He'll be 6'3", 315 before, really know what happens. Bowe Bentley's coming in on the 6th. And then on the 20th, you've got Jaden O'Neal, Daniel Odom, Ryder Mix, Will Conroy, all of the verbal commitments. Devon Robinson is another offensive lineman to watch. That's a brand new offer from just outside of Houston, Pasadena, Texas. He looks really good on film, but it's Jake Krull, Caden Hall, Donovan Webb, Valdon Sone. Sorry, Jordan Clay is on the 20th. I think he's the big receiver that you want. He's 6'4", 195, makes plays all over the field from San Antonio. Looks really good. Caden Hall, the top-rated safety out of Florida, is coming in. OU still fighting there. Linebackers, Bo Jandro visits for the barbecue if he doesn't pull the trigger before then. And they should be also getting Daniel Norman, the defensive end from Florida. He's from St. Thomas Aquinas. He's 6'5", 240. Or at least
school. That's a school.
It's a loaded. They've offered 4 kids there for 2027, and they have history there. History there. I mean, Nick Benito was just a guy who graduated from St. Thomas Aquinas, right?
Yep.
Well, Nick Benito's now an all-pro with a big fat contract from OU. So that's some names there. The previous weekend, if he comes and visits, Adam Balagon Ali from Florida is a linebacker I really like. That would be a big addition. They also have Jaden Petit, a big Florida wide receiver coming in. He's 6'4", 210. So there's that's some names coming in that it may change, and they'll change in some games. Some names will fall off, but for the most part, OU is, some names have fallen off, like Keenan Harris is verbal to Missouri today, a linebacker they were looking at. They got Ja'Cory Smith, so it's not that big a deal. They're very similar players.
So essentially what you're telling me is that for all the fans out there that are scared about our recruiting and everything and stuff, that we're right on time, right? We're kind of hitting that normal pace that we all
go to Vegas next weekend. Blow some cash, knock your recruiting worries out, and then be ready the next weekend because it'll be nothing but news.
All right. So, well, you mentioned them. Sooners in Texas. I had to go back up here because I wanted to keep this comment. He said, Chris Mason, Jason said you believe Bentley will commit to Oklahoma. Not saying you are wrong, but care to explain that?
Okay, so
however you want to tackle this.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mr.
Thank you, Jason. All right. So, Jason, in our week off, Jason texted me and said somebody who generally isn't full of crap says that Bentley's going to LSU. All right. So Jason and I went back and forth, and I'm like, well, I don't really see that. So, in old school recruiting world, right, pre-NIL, when a recruit changes his schedule the way Bentley has changed his schedule and insists that he's going to take both of those visits, that OU is going to get that last shot, and other sources are saying that he's ready to end recruiting, he's sick and tired of recruiting, I would always go with the school that gets the last shot. Because the kid
you said the other day, bro.
That's what I did say the other day.
He did. He's going
to Oklahoma. I know it.
All right. Okay. So generally speaking, that's one of the foundations behind why I think he's going to go to OU. All right. So as we have mentioned on previous podcasts, there is a super secret channel I only go to for big time information, right? Okay. OU's getting Arbuckle. OU's getting Mateer. OU's going to dump a couple of those wide receivers on signing day. They're not going to sign the guys that I told you they're not going to sign. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you still hadn't gotten it right on Joe John.
No one's gotten it right on Joe John, but that's all right. It's not my fault. No one else will hire him. So the bat phone rang, and I said, I have someone telling me Bentley's going to LSU. And they said, why are you bothering me with such stupid fucking information? They said it's 50-50. The visits will decide it. I'm like, okay. So that's where it stands. I think it's 50.
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50 going into the visits. And I think OU I mean, they land their official visits right in June. They've never had to get a quarterback in June. They've always had their quarterback prior, right? Arnold, Hawkins, and Sperry. They've always had their quarterback prior to their official visit weekends. So now they're going to use their official visit weekend to land Bentley, and I think they do land Bentley for that reason. I think he's a better fit for Arbuckle's. He's a good fit for Arbuckle's offense. He's talking to John Mateer weekly. Apparently, he's also talking to Nuss. So he's doing his due diligence, talking to both guys. The OU fan stuff that's been in the background with his family, when this first started, was also, I would say, playing a role. So I think those are the reasons why right now, this minute, I think OU gets Bowe Bentley right after that visit weekend. I think he's gonna go to Norman, and we're gonna get I'm committing like on Wednesday. Wait. So
I agree.
So that's why I think OU's getting Bowe Bentley. I know Brandon Drum and Parker Thune think OU may get Bentley, so that's why they think he's going to LSU. Whatever. Those guys. Those guys knew OU was getting Ja'Cory Smith and Nico Jandro, and they knew OU was getting Brian.
Sometimes on a dog's ass Sundays,
and they knew they were getting Brian Harris, because right after he committed, they had an interview with him talking about his OU commit, which we all know you just can't get that up on YouTube in like 2 minutes. So they recorded that before that. So they're not always wrong. I understand why some of this stuff has tarnished their rep with some OU recruiting fans. I get that, but I think that's why OU gets Bentley, is because they get the last shot, and which means they also get the last shot from an NIL perspective. So if LSU has put out their big package on their visit and he rolls in, then OU will have that info and can counter it to whatever degree they want to. So I think that's why OU gets Bowe Bentley at this point.
Chris Mason, I'm gonna jump in here real quick.
So I'm coming in right after that too. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
There's 2 things that I want to do. Okay, so first off, I would love to be able to talk about this Louisiana conundrum, right? This issue that LSU may run into, right? Because from what I'm hearing, they have a couple of quarterbacks, and one of them is supposed to be on campus. He got an offer, right? And so it seems like they can't pick them all. They can't take all of these quarterbacks that's supposed to be wonderful in the state of Louisiana in these next couple of classes, at least for this class or whatnot. So I think we need to talk about that. And then also on the back end of that, this may tie into what Jason's wanting to do, but let's do it now. May 23rd, June 6th is still a ways away. Let's go ahead. Let's state our case. Who's your quarterback? All bias aside, keep it on the field, in the chat. Who's your quarterback? Who are you taking?
I don't think it's that hard to do. I mean, and I'll just say this to start off with. I think Bowe Bentley's a good quarterback. I don't think he's close to Jaden O'Neal. I don't think he's close. The arm, it's not the same. This is not the same. When you see him rolling out to the right, and from the right hash, he's hitting the left hash on the money from 45 yards out. And this idea that he can't run all of a sudden, his pops made sure to tell me he's black. He can run. So that's coming from Jaron, so we understand that. But guys, this kid is different. He's got a big arm. And again, I think that Bentley's good. I don't see it. I don't see what is it that he can't do that you want him to do in this offense. And we keep hearing that Arbuckle will do with whatever he's got. He doesn't have anything that he's married to. So a system quarterback doesn't really, I don't know. I don't even know that I care about that. But again, I'm not going to sit here and think that a kid that's not as big, doesn't have the kind of arm, and probably doesn't have the kind of speed is a better athlete than Jaden O'Neal. I don't see it. And here's the other thing I want to say too. this Elite 11 thing smells different to me.
The list is weird.
I'm going to tell you why I think this. They lost, LSU lost the number one quarterback from the last cycle at the end, and it didn't look good on BK. This feels like a favor that all of a sudden, and again, there's not a whole lot of guys that aren't committed. This feels like an LSU trying to make up for losing the guy that they didn't get. I think that they're going to come in way above what Oklahoma's going to pay him. I just think they're going to, because I think they kind of have to. And I think that there's a number that Nagy wouldn't even think about. We've seen it. We've seen it with running backs. We've seen it at other places. And especially when you know you've got Jaden O'Neal, possibly if you haven't screwed this up, which is why they were over there. Listen, they were over there doing damage control on Monday.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say I think that overall, who's the better player? It's not close for me. It's Jaden O'Neal. That's not even saying that I don't like Bowe Bentley. I think he could play too, but I don't think it's really that close. And I can see a few little things, and there's a couple of people that are saying LSU, so it wouldn't surprise me either way. Nothing is going to surprise me. It's fucking recruiting, man. So
exactly.
Exactly. So,
I'll jump in here real. Oh, go ahead. Are you finished?
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
So what I'll say is this right here. So we'll see. Sooner in Texas says O'Neal. Lone Wolf says O'Neal. Stan Ross says O'Neal. Let's see. So we got those. Mars says Bentley. Okay. So we're a little bit split. I know people up here have been talking about O'Neal, talking about Bentley, and some of the chat is saying that Bentley is going to go to LSU and not OV to OU. Yada yada yada. But Chris Mason, let's circle back to you. So you gave us kind of your recruiting perspective, but if we're strictly keeping it off of just talent and on the field, kind of who are you leaning towards?
Well, Bentley had a fantastic year last year. High level competition, left it all on the field, running, passing, throwing. He looks good. You can't watch his highlights and say he's a bad-looking prospect. Can't at all.
No, I'm not saying.
No, I didn't say you did. I didn't say you did. I'm not putting words in your mouth. So I think so. If I'm playing master strategy recruiting guy, I probably choose O'Neal. And here's my rationale on this. If I'm Nagy, because I'm probably looking at O'Neal's traits, and I realize that this guy's not playing for me before 2027. Right? There's two results here. John Mateer kicks complete ass this year and goes pro. And Mikey Hawkins Jr. takes over in 2026. Okay? If Mateer kicks ass in 2026, Hawkins kicks ass in 2025, 2026. Get my years right there. I don't think Ben Arbuckle's our offensive coordinator any longer. Okay? Someone will decide that
he needs to be a head coach.
He needs to be a head coach because whiz-bang QB developer guys are getting head coaching jobs way ahead of where they should be.
Yeah.
Right? And he'll have mentored under some good guys, right? He's
make a mistake every day and go get these hot young freaking offensive coordinators that don't know how to help their defenses. But
it happens every day, right? Every day. So I think O'Neal has the tool set that fits all, other than the wishbone, fits all offenses. Fits what your scheme is. Brent brings in a new guy, or maybe Brent promotes the guy behind Arbuckle, whose name I keep butchering.
Kuzieski?
Something like that. I don't want to insult his family and continue butchering anymore. I think that's right. So does he promote him, and then O'Neal can play all over the field? So let me hit you with So that's what I would probably, if I'm Nagy looking at this and LSU comes up with a big number, I'm saying, get Jaden's dad back on the phone. Let's lock this down. I'm not playing games with this. I'm not playing this game.
If it's not too late, though.
If it's not too late. But I think it's kind of like it's a bad rom-com, right?
Yeah.
And what Jaden needs to do
handled poorly.
It's handled poorly. He needs the
to Arbuckle's defense. He said that it's been handled poorly.
Well, it's been a bad a bad situation, right? I mean, Arbuckle's been like, I got this talented guy, but then I found another talented guy I want.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? And you're working through it. So he's made mistakes. Again, this is also Buckle's first high wire, big time recruiting guy, right?
Yeah, I said this on the show this morning. Not to steal a whole lot of shit from Brian Kelly, but he hasn't really shopped in this aisle before.
Yeah. I mean,
he's went and found guys that are diamonds in the rough, but he hasn't been going after blue chippers like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, this is new for Arbuckle, right? That he all of a sudden, like, when you've got like no money and you're at the store, you're buying like the cheapest shit you can find to make a meal, right? All of a sudden, Arbuckle's like, no, we're going to Whole Foods. And you can buy whatever. I'm not saying I want the wishbone back for OU because Jaden can't run the wishbone, right? If we're running the wishbone, Michael Hawkins Jr. can run the frickin' wishbone. If you want to run the wishbone, then run the bone. So just for a minute, I finish my analogy. So Arbuckle is now shopping at a Whole Foods, and he's got a big credit card that he's never had before. And all of a sudden someone's like, hey, I got prime filet for you. All right. And he's like, oh, great. And then he walks up to the counter. He's like, can I buy that prime tri-tip roast right there?
Right. No, we got something back here that you don't even see up here.
You got some can I get some of that tri-tip? Oh, yeah, you can have some of that too. Oh, great. So, again, there is a nightmare scenario where OU loses both of these kids, right? And they're already laying the framework, following some guys. What I think is what they want to bring in 2 high school kids regardless.
Yeah.
So if they lose Bentley, then Jaden's their focus, and they're going to bring in some guy behind him.
Well, have you seen the other kid from Louisiana, that other high school kid?
Yeah,
he's not ranked, but he's got a big arm.
And he plays at Destrehan, which is a big time high school. I mean, it's like loaded with talent usually.
And he's a 2-year MVP. It's weird to me that nobody knows him, but you know what? It happens a lot in Louisiana.
And he threw for 1 billion yards.
Get out.
It's one of those things where I think one thing that we don't mention enough on this pod is the fact that Arbuckle has put some quarterbacks in the league.
I'm not
obviously Cam Ward
at all. I think his handling of it, the way that he went about it, he admitted himself the other night that he didn't handle this well. He said it.
And let's be clear. He has a boss who should have handled this better.
And that's what I was going to get at too, is that if you really want to put this on somebody, you kind of need to get at Venables about it, because Venables could have said, hey, no.
This is my guy. This is my loyal guy. Stop farting around.
Fair enough.
Or, look, you really want this other guy? Let's talk to Jaden's family and cut him loose in a professional, sensible manner.
The worst part of it to me is that if you wanted to go Bentley, fine. Don't bullshit about it. Tell the truth.
The problem was he thought, Arbuckle, I think naively, because he's new, shopping in his territory, thought that he could get Bentley and O'Neal verbaled quickly, but then Bentley went to the rivals thing, played in the All-Star game that weekend in San Antonio, and all of a sudden, a name I've never heard of, like, well, who the fuck is Bowe Bentley? I've never heard this name before. And everyone's like, oh, he's awesome. He's going to be
definitely good. He's definitely a good player.
So that's what. So if they get Bentley, it's up to Jaden and his family to determine what's best for them. Whatever they decide.
One thing that I wanted to end this conversation with is that let's make it abundantly clear that the O'Neals have all the leverage in this thing. when it comes to, they've got a nice offer from other places.
Hey! I haven't been able to say what I want to say.
Do you? Before we
Let me
get
jump
out,
in the
I wanna make
conversation.
sure I said
Jason's gonna call me out and say, "Chris, what you think?" So
Please.
I would say this right here, okay?
The
We're
plan.
talking strictly on the field, okay? You guys know who I've liked for the better part of this conversation we've been talking about. It's one of those things where you kind of have your vices or whatnot, right? Arbuckle is a common denominator. Quarterback guru says the Whisperer has his guy there with him that was at Washington State. So, obviously, Bentley, you're looking at Bowe Bentley and saying, okay, converted wide receiver, a converted quarterback, was a former wide receiver, understands routes, understands this, can throw off platform, can make these throws, can do those things. You look at O'Neal, you say, hey, NFL intangibles, they literally, he walks in the room and that's where it's at. One of the things I think gets lost in this whole episode, not as podcast, it's this episode of Bentley versus O'Neal, is the fact that it feels like everything that is being said about Bentley, as far as how good and talented and OU is his dream school, is the same thing you heard about O'Neal for the longest whenever he was coming. And so it's just one of those things where all the reports I heard from guys that I definitely trust, talking to Jay, and when they were at those camps last year when he was going up, basically Sperry was there and he was basically the guy. It had all the aura, had everything.
Wasn't even close, right?
Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But, you hear problems with, hey, NFL arm, crazy arm, talented arm, just don't know where it's landing. There's issues with accuracy, right? You've heard a bunch of different things about both guys. So it's just kind of nitpicky at this point. Obviously, we have people like Sooner Cowboys and other people in here saying, like, oh, I just want who Arbuckle wants, right? And that's the thing, and that's the scary thing, simply because you just don't know. I give Arbuckle 2 to 3 years because I think that he can turn this around. I think that he can help BV keep his job. I think that he can help BV, go above and beyond what he went in the 23 year, which was a really good year for us, if people remember that. So, obviously, I think I would go with O'Neal simply because if you do promote the QB coach as your OC, or Kevin Wilson's is there, or if you go and look outside, it's one of those things where I think that he has the skill set to match whatever vibe is coming in, if you guys get what I'm saying. So I don't think that you would have to look that far. I think that you don't necessarily, and I kept saying, Tannehill vibes and stuff like that. I'll back off of that.
I was fixing to bring that up to you. I was fixing to say, you brought up the Tannehill vibes before.
Jason was giving me that. To me, is one of those things where, as an incoming freshman, that's perfectly fine, and you want to be molded into the QB that you want. What does that spell? We're in the same situation we were with Caleb, who this guy is coming strictly for Arbuckle. He's not coming for OU. As much as he wants to say he's loyal, he's this, he's that, you got to have that in the back of your mind that, hey, this kid not so long ago was playing wide receiver. Now he's this, he's that. So if he's coming here to OU, he's coming here to play for Arbuckle. That's his guy.
Well, let's have some family,
There's
some OU stickiness there in the background.
I get that, but out of the two, you look at O'Neal and you say, hey, his skill set can literally it can withstand any blow that OU takes as far as OC, simply because I think that he just has that kind of skill set. Whereas when I look at what Bowe Bentley does, I say, no, that's an Arbuckle type of guy who needs that type of scheme to be successful, because the comparison is what we have now with John Mateer. So if that's the case, not saying that John Mateer can't go and be successful anywhere else. I'm just saying that, to me, you need to be in that system that you wanted to be in, that you're going to be that you believe you're going to be successful in. Because if he goes to LSU, it's not guaranteed he's going to have the same coordinator all throughout. We all know that. Let's just be real. Because Brian Kelly, I mean, let's just be real. It's not like he's just lost guys because they weren't good. He's lost guys to good jobs. I wouldn't say necessarily better, but it's just one of those things where that's just kind of my business I'm throwing in there.
Let's just call it what it is, Chris. People run away from Brian Kelly. I mean, let's just call it. So here's my two. So obviously the visits have changed, right? So so the thing I don't know is, again, if LSU throws a bag and Bentley wants to go to LSU, he may never show up in Norman, no matter how much he's insisting that he will.
Can I say something real quick? Because I think you have an answer for this. My thing has been, I think that his lack of commitment to either one of them has kind of alienated them both. Because I think that if he really wanted to be at Oklahoma, I think he'd already be there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He could have pulled the trigger a long time ago.
I think he feels like O'Neal might be staying, and he doesn't want. I don't think he wants to compete with O'Neal.
Well, so
I don't think they're going to compete with each other either way, because you don't get two elite quarterbacks in the same class.
If you're going to bring that up right there, then Chris Mason, I'm staring at you because you and I, we beef about this. We disagree about this. We do, because you disagreed with me the last time. I was shocked because usually me and you are like eye for eye, mano y mano.
Oh my!
But I keep telling you, Michael Van Buren is there at LSU, and guess what? He has actual stats. He has actual
he'll be in his
experience.
He'll be in his third year by the time either one of them.
Why are we talking about
that kid went out there and put on a show, even at Mississippi State? I don't care what y'all say. That's a problem in that room right there. If for anybody who goes there, if you think that you're penciled in because you're the cream of the crop in this class or whatever the case may be, I'm telling you, Michael Van Buren.
Van Buren ran off from Mississippi State over another freshman.
Okay, so
just saying,
Michael Van Buren could easily be LSU starter in 2026. If we can coalesce what you were saying into one statement, you're completely right. Okay, and that will be his third year, and in 2026, if he blows up, he could head to the NFL. So I think OU's quarterback situation with Mateer and Mike Jr., not that dissimilar from LSU's with Nuss and Van Buren. Okay? So I don't think either one is really better than the other for Bentley. So I'm afraid of – so let's just talk about the visit and how this calendar might play out, okay, for OU. So, because we really care about LSU, and I give two shits about LSU recruiting. So, if Bentley visits LSU, gets the big bag, decides that's where he wants to go, follows through with the OU visit, Nagy and his handlers, parents, whatever, sit down, slide a number across the table, and Nagy goes, "Enjoy Baton Rouge." Okay, it's entirely possible, right? OU then has basically 2 weeks to pull off a repair relationship with Jaden O'Neal. Okay, they need to pull off, to pull off a line from they need a rom-com solution to this. It's like Notting Hill. He needs to walk in and Arbuckle saying, "I'm just a coach meeting a QB."
He knock it off.
Candles. He needs to, they need to do it. They've done the mea culpa, so they've got 2 weeks to fix things with Jaden O'Neal. I'm going to cross a line here, which I don't usually cross, because I think Jaden's dad is in our chat. He's listening tonight, right?
He's never not. I don't.
And he's a good guy. Good guy. He's always been very upfront and honest with me. Yeah. Good guy. I love his kid. I don't make no bones about that. I do not. I mean, the number one reason why I'd love OU if they get Bentley to sign O'Neal is I do not want that kid at LSU. FSU. Man, Norvell's getting canned. And I hate the freaking criminals.
They owe him $100 million. Mike Norvell ain't going nowhere.
Well, I don't want to see Jaden O'Neal succeed at FSU. I'm not sure I can mentally handle that.
I get where you're going with this, and it's like, you know, somebody said something about if he went to Texas or something this morning. I said I refuse to have this conversation, but I got to just say I think that you could have worse scenarios for him to end up in than working with. Hey, look what Gus did whenever he had Cam.
It's not a great fit offensively, though.
I don't know.
Who was the last elite? I mean, I love Jaden, but he is not. The guy's name's escaping me. He's not that guy. He's not the Carolina Panthers QB whose name's
Clausen.
No. The guy went to Auburn whose name I can't believe I can't remember.
Bo Nix.
No. The Auburn guy whose dad got the church. No. The big guy, 6'5", 240.
Oh, Cam.
He's not Cam. I mean, Jaden's not Cam Newton's size.
I didn't say with Cam Newton, but I'm just saying he's had guys that could throw. Usually it's a John Rice Plumlee. That's what we're used to seeing.
Were you really thinking those guys throw?
No. But I'm saying when he does get somebody that can throw, I wouldn't want Gus to be my head coach. I don't mind him being my coordinator.
I'd much rather he go to Zona and kick ass in the Big 12 and
listen. I'll tell you this much: he could pick worse situations. But I'm telling you, yeah. I think that they have. Florida State has done.
Yeah, really the Cowboys is right
of selling their program to him, and that they made him feel wanted in a way that Oklahoma hasn't.
Well, of course, because they took Kevin Sperry. We know they're bereft of quarterback talent.
Well, that's facts.
So, I mean,
that's a shot. Oh,
well, okay. The problem I have is we all know how this works, right?
Yeah.
OU farts. LSU throws a massive bag at Bentley. OU won't match it for legitimate reasons, like this is stupid money. What are you doing? Because we're not playing in stupid money these days. We're not doing it at running back. We're not doing it at offensive tackle, and we're not doing it at quarterback.
They lose Bentley a nice amount too.
So they lose Bentley, and then they can't repair their relationship with O'Neal, or Jaden has he's like, okay, I spent too long thinking about myself being somewhere else, and I can't view myself being at OU any longer. I don't know. I'm not in the kid's head. And they can't turn that around. Was Jaden O'Neal do at Mustang, Oklahoma? Freaking win like a state title and look like, 10,000. I mean, a lot of this ranking stuff on O'Neal is because he didn't play his full senior year. And the rankings guys are just obsessed with that.
He still had 3,000 yards in
I'm with you, dude. I don't understand it either, but they're obsessed with that element. I think that's why they're dragging him down.
This is what these guys do when they don't have shit to write about, and he's not giving them much to write about.
No, he's not. So that's my thought is that I know Jaden O'Neal's going to have a huge senior year at Mustang. He's going to be in our backyard with highlights left and right, and he's going to look freaking great.
Right, man. And I think that's the thing that scares the hell out of me is I think that you end up watching this kid go to Florida State and kick ass.
Maybe he does. I mean, the quarterback thing is I sat up and down convinced that Jackson Arnold was going to kick ass last year.
That's the biggest. We were talking about that this morning. That's like every Oklahoma fan's biggest fear is that he's going to come in week 4 and kick the shit out.
Well, I don't think.
Although we know better.
We he's got some liabilities. And
I do want to remind everybody of something for Jaden. Just, think about this real quick. Pull that up on the screen there. See where he is.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a freaking Sooner right there, buddy.
So I think, to me, the best situation is you sign them both, you tell them to compete, and they both know to sitting behind Mateer or Mike Hawkins year 1, and then you have a hot cauldron offseason in 2027, and whoever blinks. But I don't see that happening. But that's what I would love to see happen because, again, I think, the Bentley stuff all looks good, but I'm so twice shy bitten after Jackson Arnold, right? Because you look at Bentley's film and Arnold's film from their junior years, and they look very, very similar. I mean, really, they do. So I'm a little burnt there with the whole Arnold situation from that. But I think the visit thing at least gives OU 2 weeks to just if the Bentley thing goes south, they got 2 weeks, and they know it's going south because I can't tell you that there's no way OU won't know they're getting Bentley after the June 6th weekend. They'll know. Absolutely. They will know where it's heading.
Chris, and you know what, people? If anything does happen with that, we'll be right here. Trust me.
Bat phone will be ringing. Bat phone will be ringing.
Let's go ahead and shift. I think we all have spoken. We kind of stated our case. We've talked about it. We got all the recruiting that we need. We did about an hour's worth of recruiting. So let's go ahead and shift it over to just I guess 2 more topics. Jason, you could take it away with pretty much what's going on with the college football playoff now, the straight seating, and then which I agree with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then also just like the NIL stuff that you want to talk about as well. Go ahead and lead that charge.
I think they're kind of tied together a little bit too. I'm excited. I was glad to see. I will say this: Notre Dame won big with the straight seating because they now can get a bye week without winning a conference title or even having a conference. Coach says hello, by the way. But I'll just say that after what we saw, I mean, come on, man. If you look at what that whole deal was, I mean, I got that little graphic here. I want to kind of pull this up and kind of show everybody what we're looking at here. If you look at what it was, and I mean, we're talking about rankings in this past one that it's like it was a complete and utter cluster, right? I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me. And oh shit, that's the wrong one. Share screen. Sorry. Here we go. You want to put that on the screen there, okay, Chris?
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. Old model, new model. Think about this. You got conference champions in Arizona State, and I liked Arizona State a little bit, but they're not good enough to, and neither was Boise to be in that top 4. Had it been straight seeding, this is what it looks like on the right. And you don't get Oregon, which if I'm Oregon, I'm mad as shit.
Yeah,
about the way that turns out. They go in, they win the damn Big Ten in their first year in it. And then what do they get for it? Another date with Ohio State, while Penn State is getting Boise or SMU followed by Boise. If you look at this, now Penn State would have gotten a bye, but they're either getting the team that beat them, Notre Dame, or Clemson, who can probably beat them because they never seem to win big games at Penn State against teams that are, have similar talent.
Well, it's not because they don't have the greatest game day coach in America.
Yeah, it is kind of that.
Well, that's big sarcastic.
That's kind of is what it is. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. But I mean, Indiana, Boise State, that seems like a fair matchup and you should run into the number 1 team in the country if you win that game.
Better games too. Better first round games.
SMU, if you think that you need SMU in that playoff, they should be going up against an SEC program first and having to beat them to get to another SEC team. You know what I mean? They lost the first round anyway. It didn't matter. But the point is, Ohio State, I just feel like this is a much more palatable deal. Now, here's the thing that I would tell you, though. I don't know that this is how it moves forward. the AQs that they're talking about auto qualifying 4 from each conference next year. I don't know why you would do that. I still don't know why you would do it.
Well, and they're doing this weird play-in game stuff.
Yeah, the stuff they're talking about with the playing game, I'm not sure I love it. And I don't know that anybody else loves it either, to be honest.
It's a little weird.
One of the things I'm just happy about is that we don't, I mean, just simplifying it, we don't have the crazy Boise State is, ranked number 9, but they're the 3 seed because of, Group of 5 getting that auto bid.
Well, there was a conference.
The auto seeding was the worst part. It wasn't necessarily getting the qualifiers. It was the auto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that, it was kind of a little bit inverted because it's one of those things with the old model going to this new model where you're like, damn, I kind of wish Ohio State would have lost. So I could have had a little bit more fire about this, but they didn't, right? Because I think we all agree Ohio State probably had the toughest draw out of anybody, or the toughest road to get to the championship game. And they made it look easy those first 2 weeks, especially. Well, I mean, first 3 weeks, right? Bevo's bodyguard. Hopefully you caught that one. But I mean, it's just one of those things where you're like, damn, I kind of wish Ohio State would have lost, though. I would have been a little bit more fired up. But, again, it's all 3 of us getting on here and saying, whoa, hey, NCAA, we're glad that you were looking at this like Rain Man, seeing all those numbers and everything, but this was common sense. Nobody had to, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't take rocket science to fix this.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I mean, just make the sandwich, bro. That's all you got to just make the sandwich.
I disagreed with, I definitely disagreed last year. And to our Texas brethren, I'll say this right here. I don't believe Texas should have. Look, there's not a world where I'm sitting here saying, Arizona State should be waiting on the winner of Texas and Clemson to see who's going to play that game. No, exactly. Arizona State should have played that first round game. I'm just being real.
Right.
Like
Nor Boise State waiting on the winner of SMU and Penn State either.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of
a streak to schedule in the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just common sense, right? I mean, I don't understand why Texas is ranked so high there, but anyway, other than that,
that's where they had them all year.
I guess.
Hey, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
By the way, just a quick Texas OU comment. OU 9 teams in the SP Plus top 25 they play this year. 9. Texas plays 4. And if you just go SEC, OU plays 8 top 25 teams from the SEC. The entire SEC slate is top 25 teams. Texas plays 3.
Yeah.
If you gave OU Texas's schedule this fall, OU goes 10-2, easy.
And here's the thing. This is why I don't understand why people were picking Texas to win the Natty this year when they didn't do it they had all this.
Florida basically benched their quarterback to keep him healthy.
Well, I mean, and they had all these guys that had so much, experience in the room for 2 years. They've been sending guys to the NFL. For 2 years, they've had all this experience in the fucking room, and they didn't get it done. But now, with a brand new quarterback and offensive line and everything else,
and defensive line,
out of here, man. It's crazy talk. Talk.
Anyway, I just
call your team trash. That's what they are.
Bevo's bodyguard, give me a freaking break. I've looked at your schedule.
Clown. Don't worry about Bevo's bodyguard.
Give me a break.
He'll talk. He's.
I can tell you what. I trade right. If that's the case, then OU and Texas should trade the Vandy, Mississippi State, and Kentucky games, and we'll give you LSU, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
Oklahoma's going to get battle tested. If they can find a way to get to 9-3, they're going to be in that playoff.
Yeah. And if they got anybody left to play,
who's going to
want
to see them if they get to 9-3 with the schedule they're playing? Nobody.
Yeah, if they can somehow make that work, it's just crazy. But yeah, no, the new model's great. You know, it's common sense. I don't know what they're doing with this whole 16 automatic qualifier and play-in nonsense. It sounds like the Big Ten and the SEC are just money hunting from the network.
Well, and that's the concern that I have. Listen, you're going to get 4 and sometimes 5 in anyway. You're going to 16. You're going to get 4 and 5 in anyway. I don't know why you need to do auto qualifiers at all. If all you do, we were talking about this morning. If all you do is actually use strength of schedule as a fucking metric, quantify it and let it be part of the reason that you let teams in and don't put other teams. This fair bullshit. Fair is where you go judge pigs. I don't want to hear about fair. Fuck all that. The best teams need to be there. That's why I think everybody's in love with this straight deal, is because the best teams, or whoever you think are the best teams, are going to be who the team should be, other than your G5 school that's going to make it in still. In the end, you just because you win your conference, aside from the G5, you're not going to be one of the top. You're not just going to be ranked up there and getting a bye week and all that other shit. I think they're going to have to mess with the scheduling a little bit too. I don't know if the bye is a great thing right now.
The schedule's the biggest mess, right? I think
it is. Yeah.
I appreciate the Army Navy game and everything our servicemen.
They need to get in the way of that.
But they need games the 15th, the first round of the 15th, and the next round of the 22nd.
Because there's no NFL or anything. Yes.
And the 22nd, and find different places to play the games, what you need to do. So, and get that, because the college season going so late is just buried by the NFL.
Yeah.
At least in the media market's way. So, yeah.
So I feel like in all that, I mean, I think I like where this is headed. I don't love where they're headed in 2026. And the other thing that I think that we're probably about to run into a wall with, and I don't know why they think that they're going to get away with this Deloitte thing. I don't understand why they think they're going to get away with that shit. There's not a lawyer out there that's saying that they think that these schools can sign to go against their state laws.
Well,
and it hold up in any kind of court. And I'm telling you, and then none of them are even talking about what the players might do. Because again, we don't want collective bargaining or anything involved in all this shit, so that you could actually get some,
yeah, I mean,
a little bit of protection. You get a little protection if you collectively bargain, right? Then you don't have to go to court. The one thing I know is if the players say, fuck you, I got this offer and you're not taking it away from me, we're going to court. Guess what? We're right back where we were. And what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, they've got to get, I totally agree though.
It's a waste of fucking time.
Right. They need to get the House thing done, get a CBA done, and then have all the schools agree, sign a hanging document, right? And if you don't sign the hanging document, that's when you kick people out of the conference, right? So that Tennessee and A&M, basically, who are the A&M and Tennessee are really the malcontents in this whole process, right?
Yeah, and here's Tennessee getting right back. Good for Tennessee standing up to Nico Iamaleava. Get that fuck out of here with that shit. Here they go again. They want to be able to pay whatever the hell they want. And they're the reason that Nico and them do business the way they do. Tennessee's a shit show. But
I do think we're coming to a time where the conferences that, everybody in the SEC wants fiscal responsibility other than the two delusional fan bases of A&M and Tennessee. Because Ole Miss is, well, I think Texas is sort of like, yeah, fine, whatever. We're so arrogant, we don't really care. They're like Texas, we're so arrogant, we don't care. Just set the rules up. We're Texas, we'll win anyway, which is, of course, not true historically, but, hey, whatever.
Yeah, we know. Reality doesn't play.
It doesn't play there for Texas. But yeah, I think, you're right. It's a mess. And why we just can't get to a CBA as fast as possible is the biggest problem. Once you have the NIL, you've got a pool of money, right? Once the House agreement,
There's more money in the sport than there's ever been, and they're still trying to. I mean, and I got to say, Joe Castiglione, shut up. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's bad. It's just bad. I don't understand it.
Well, and again, and some other commission isn't going to help.
I know. Yeah. Oh, we're getting to get rid of athletic department people too.
Well, okay. Well, it is what it is. But yeah, you're right. The whole Tennessee thing. The fact that Tennessee state legislature spent time and energy on this
the
bullshit.
Governor, all that other shit. Exactly. That's
bullshit. It's bullshit. Look, what's your reading rate among 7th graders? Don't you have some bigger fucking problems in Tennessee?
No. Neyland Stadium, baby.
Give me a break.
Hey, listen, all I'm saying is I think that there's definitely more things that they could worry about. They're making more money than they ever had. And instead of just collective bargaining with the kids, and you can get all you want, because don't think for a second that if they wanted 2-year deals or whatever the hell it is, that they couldn't get it. We know damn good and well that kids enter the portal because they get told to enter the portal. And a lot of time, and that's what's going on. They like having that ability to say, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a different way.
And the kids are never going to say that you told them to do that because they'd rather look greedy than shitty.
And here's the other problem. And I know this is old man on his lawn kind of thinking, but has anybody seen fucking graduation rates lately? I understand they are athletes and occasionally go to class, but on some level, there's a whole bunch. It used to be a whole bunch of guys who weren't going to the NFL that were good college football players that matriculated through college, got degrees, and are doing well professionally.
Well, it's a different era, man.
I got it, but don't you?
I don't think the importance is there. I don't think the importance is placed on it.
No, I'm sure it isn't, but
it should be. It should be.
Don't you think graduation rates are just in the toilet?
Are they right now? Is that what you're? I'm not seeing that. I didn't know that was a problem in Oklahoma.
Maybe not at OU, but plus it's 4 years out, right? That's the problem. It's that it's always 4 years. It's always like a trailing record.
Guys, you all know they're not going there for school, man. The majority of them are not going there for school.
Hey, whatever that grades may be, they may be.
Yeah, what's that ranking that you have to have, like a APR or something like that?
Yeah, how the hell are you figuring APR out with all this carnage on rosters? You have to hope like the one guy who stays 4 years graduates.
These are things that aren't necessary. Look, again, this is not even a collectively bargained thing. All of these laws, and this is where I'm standing on tables and during my shows saying, shut the fuck up about these players being the ones in the wrong here because they didn't make any of the rules.
No.
So I'm going to say that if we're having a problem with what's going on with the grades and graduation.
I'm just saying that at some level.
Well, if they can make the rule, they can take it away, and apparently the billions are much more important than the B pluses on the report card, man.
I'm talking more on a micro level, like kids who get hurt. Caleb Kelly has 3 master's degrees from OU, right?
And you know what? Shit.
He has 2 master's degrees.
Listen, man, I would tell any kid, take advantage of the shit.
That's all I'm saying is that
take advantage.
That's all I'm saying is that there are kids that genuinely. There was a OU player who went back and got his PhD this year. Who you guys may not remember. His name's Rocky Bright.
Yeah,
he went to Booker T. Washington. He signed with Corey Kalins.
It's badass.
He was great.
Oh, Doc.
He was a great high school football player. Booker T. Washington, Tulsa. Got hurt. Never could do anything. Just couldn't get back from it. And he just got his PhD from OU, for crying out loud. And you can't tell me that's not significant for him, his family, everybody he's involved with.
Brother, he gets to be called doctor from now on.
Exactly. And I'm just saying that in the current world, OU would have been forced to just jettison him after year 2.
Yeah. Well, one more thing I'll say, and then I want to pass it back to you, Kchris, because I want to know what you think about it. But my thing is this: we're a lot of people are saying that we're acting like college football is on its deathbed. It isn't, folks.
No.
It isn't.
No, I was having this conversation with I think yesterday, and we were talking about, and I told him with the whole Tennessee thing and all these other places, because now they're throwing it out there that pretty much the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, they're all gonna jump ship, go do their own thing, and they're all gonna basically what you've been talking about, Jason, with like a CBA or whatnot. They're gonna have that, and Tennessee may get ejected because state laws and this and stuff like that, this and that and the second. But like on as he always likes to say, money talks and BS walks, right? But like I told him, on the other side of that, it's just one of those things where it's so easy to manipulate everything with legislation, because every state, looking at this with Ty and Jay early on with these NIL stuff or whatever, every state has different laws around NIL that are that are basically present an advantage for that state, right? Missouri had it, Texas had it, Oklahoma had it, Bama has it, right? They've all adopted different variations of these laws or whatnot, and guess what has happened on the back end of that? Copycat laws, right? So it's one of those things where all you need is just for one state to step up and to create something basically for that school, and then every other school will follow, and then probably just continue to add things to that. Whereas you would think state law would prevail over whatever CBA or whatever the thing is. But if you're locked in, you're locked in. It's just one of those things where you're agreeing to kind of bypass that or kind of forego that. You're gonna have to bring up every public policy reason or whatever that's not good. But college football is not dead. NIL is not necessarily hurting the game. It's just one of those things where if we're really just going to be real about it, it's a bunch of gatekeeping. And the gatekeeping is not necessarily around the information, it's around the money. You have $1 billion industry and you're struggling to figure out how to pay these athletes. And then you still have coaches like Kirby Smart who are jumping in here saying that you're going to have to cut athletic programs. And you're talking about, Joe C. It just doesn't make sense whenever we went over this a few weeks ago. The revenue sharing, people, that's probably one of the pluses that you could give to the side of the NCAA in this whole thing, is that they're being straight up with you. They're being 1,000% transparent with what's going on. Some athletes are not going to
cry me a fucking river about having to lay somebody off.
It's not even that. The problem is that when you look at what Kirby Smart is saying, you have to understand that NIL only affects your program, only affects football. Why? Because when you go to the revenue sharing, which there's going to be money for every program, right? You saying that paying the top quarterback in the class or the top in the high school class or the transfer portal class is going to kill other sports. That is not correct. That is not correct. It's going to kill other players on that team. It's going to kill the kid that is on the low end of the totem pole. The third string quarterback, fourth string quarterback is not going to get that type of money. Neither is the fourth string D tackle, no matter how good he is as a freshman or whatever. Some of these players are going to have to go earn their keep. But when you look at some of these other programs like tennis, golf, things like that, even though I'm sure that all of them would say, yeah, I want what the college football players are making. I want 1 million. I want 3 million. I want 3.5 million for the next 2 years. Sad to say, you're probably only going to see $4,000 or like a $5,000 stipend or whatnot. But as a college kid, I can promise you that is perfectly fine with me. If you're telling me I'm getting free money added on, not scholarship, not any of that stuff. You're telling me I'm just going to get a $5,000, $8,000 stipend or whatever to go do what I need to do with that? That is perfectly fine. You know why? Because I can go get me a nice little rental house. I can go do whatever I want off campus and kind of do my thing and kind of live like a grown-up. And if I'm smart, I'll put that money into something. I'll put that money somewhere. I'll figure something out with that cash. But it's one of those things where you have revenue sharing and you're going to have CBAs, this and that. This only affects college football. And college football is not on its last legs. It's not dying. It's nothing wrong with the NIL. But what's wrong is the simple fact that we're gatekeeping this money and we do not know how to distribute it. The revenue sharing is there to help you with the direct. As Chris Mason said, you can do a signing bonus. You can do direct payment. You can do all types of things. This is why I mentioned, Jason, a few weeks ago, just put a cap on it. And go into a CBA, whatever. Put caps somewhere. Caps need to come into play.
You can cap everything but the NIL because the NIL stuff is where it's.
Let it be outside. But that's what revenue sharing is doing anyways. But as far as the other stuff that you're doing, because not every program is going to be able to receive 20 to 40 million every year. And I promise you guys, listen, I don't care how many billionaires you have at Texas Tech. If Texas Tech goes out there and goes 75,
Tech has a billionaire. Oklahoma has like 10 of them.
All I'm saying is this right here. All I'm saying is this right here. If you're going out there and you're going 6-6, 7-5, look, Joey McGuire can come out there and sunshine pump as much as he want, but they're not going to fund the program until they get a coach in there that they want. We all know this. History repeats itself. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where what needs to happen is that these conferences, to be honest with you, they do need to break away. There needs to be a one commissioner from an outside source, or you're going to have a rotational commissioner, meaning that each year out of those 4 top conferences, there's one commissioner from each. There's one commissioner from one of those one conference, right? So it could be SEC the first year, it could be Big Ten the next year, then it could be the ACC, then it could be the Big 12, and it keeps changing. Not necessarily they're promoting their conference. They are for the greater good of college football, right? So I don't know. There's all types of things you can do with this, but breaking away from the NCAA and being able to kind of mold your own rules, I like it because it's where we're headed. It's just the fact of we need to get there. We need to stop playing around with that, and we just need to get there because the NCAA – they're only making moves off of, straight up off of knee-jerk reactions. Every move that they make is a knee-jerk reaction. They've only made 2 or 3 moves out of the 100 that they could have made to prevent this, to help this, to fasten this at a pace where everybody would have felt good about what's going on. It's just one of those things where it's inevitable, but it needs to happen. And whether that's just the SEC and the Big Ten moving forward, or that's the SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, and the ACC moving forward, something has to happen because you can't. The NCAA has just become obsolete. It's not in a good place. But college football is fine, and we're still gonna get a hell of a product. But we have to figure this out because I think that it could be simplified overnight if we got the right people in there. With that being said, let's go ahead and transition into one last thing. It's been on here. We've been on here for an hour and 28. Bevo's bodyguard, where you at, brother? Come on, let's get you right here, front and center, please. Don't run from the smoke. So, I don't care what your guys are saying about. Oh, this is a big noon problem. This is a Fox problem. I remember a couple of weeks I was talking about. I was talking about it, and I said, well. I hate that game is going to be played at 12 o'clock, this and that, big noon kickoff because of Fox or whatever. But it seems to me that game could have been moved to Sunday, and it could have been in prime time, nighttime. So why are y'all ducking the smoke? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. It can't be because Arch ain't great. It can't be because Texas isn't great. It can't be because Texas is bad. What is it? Do y'all not want to go mess with Ohio State at night? Y'all don't want to go to the shoe at night? I'm just trying to figure out, bro, what's going on? Bevo, bodyguard, where you at? Ben G, where is Ben G? I haven't seen Ben G all night. People in the chat, please chime in on this. Why is Texas ducking the smoke? Please. Chris Mason, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, there is a game on Sunday already, so
Okay.
the ACC is already there. So
who's playing in that game?
It is the vaunted matchup of Va-Tech versus South Carolina. Basically, angry turkeys against angry chickens.
So you're telling me that Fox would not want to go
battle turkeys versus battle chickens.
So you're telling me that Fox would not want to go up against that lineup? That's crazy.
The only thing I will say is that, prime time the first weekend, it's LSU Clemson. So ABC's already got a prime time slot. So Texas Ohio State's confirmed, right, for 12 noon?
Yep.
Okay. At 3:30 you've got Alabama FSU. So I don't know. I think it's a bigger issue. Should this be a primetime game? Yeah, it probably should be a primetime game. Yeah, they should. But if you're Fox and you can have the 12 o'clock window free because your only other problem, if I'm watching Syracuse, Tennessee, or am I watching Ohio State, Texas?
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing, but ABC has a game locked up. Let's be honest with you. Which game are you watching? Ohio State, Texas, or Miami at Notre Dame at Miami? Let's be real.
I might be watching LSU Clemson instead, to be honest.
I think I'm probably for that 6:30 kickoff. If that's where it was at, hell, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time Fox want to put the game at. I think I'm probably glued to the TV on that. Not necessarily because I want to see Texas lose or whatever.
Really? Because I'm really not sure I'm up for 3 hours despite no matter how he plays of the Fox announcers slobbering all over Arch Manning. I mean, there's only so much Longhorn porn I can take, at a time. So I don't. I mean, we don't play Ohio State. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think the big problem is obviously if you're Ohio State, I understand the problem because we've been dealing with the same damn thing for like 3 years in the Big 12, right? Every time we turn around, we're playing at 12 noon, playing a big game at 12 noon. So I get why Ohio State's mad about it. I get why Ohio State wants to change it up. I mean, they're going to end up with 6 games like this, 6 noon kickoffs. So, I don't know. I mean, should it be a primetime game? Yeah, probably. But I've got LSU Clemson, so I'm really not that worried about it. I'm more worried about when is that game going to be. I mean, to be frankly honest, so are we going to get stuck with a 12 kickoff? August 30th? Team Bacon playing Illinois State? So I don't know. Obviously, if we had a real commissioner of college football negotiating with the networks to get us the best games on the best slots and times, that's what you're really. It's back to your gatekeeper thing, right? That we need something where the best games are getting the best slots, and and if they're competing with each other, okay, let the viewership decide. But it's Ohio. It could be like 60 degrees in August. Could be 100 degrees in August. But
hey man, I saw people in the comments of one of the posts talking about oh man, football's supposed to be played on Saturdays. Why are we playing on Sunday? And I'm like, dude, have y'all not been watching college football for like the past 5 years? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? I'm like, dude, that's Labor Day weekend. There's
no NFL. Take advantage of it. I mean, take advantage of it, right? There's no NFL.
Yeah.
There's no NFL games. Take advantage of it. Put a triple header on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, the Virginia Tech South Carolina game's at 3 o'clock. So, you should be able to put all games, as many games as you want on that put 3 games on that Sunday. But again, you got Notre Dame Miami that night on Sunday night.
It's one of those things where like that weekend right there, and when I say weekend, I mean from Thursday to
actually bump TCU North Carolina from the Monday night game. Make the Monday night game Ohio State Texas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, just put it like this right here. Hear me out because I want to get Jason's opinion on this. But Thursday, you get off of work, you're heading home. You already know the games are not going to be amazing, but you're still going to get some good games. You were excuse me. Let me put this no Diddy, but let me tease this as much as I can. So you're teased, you're tickled to bits basically with week 0. Thursday comes around for the week 1 games, and you're like, I know this not going to be the greatest slate, but college football is back, and I'm so happy. Friday, you're over there thinking, okay, it's going to be some decent games on. Let me see what I want to do. Probably going to have to watch Kansas versus like Buffalo or something, but let me get my barbecue plans ready. Saturday, you're saying, hey, I'm getting drunk as right. I'm watching my team destroy somebody, and I'm about to get ready for Sunday because I know it's going to be a good game. Monday is always the day that you sober up because you already know it's not really going to be a great game. It's going to be Louisville versus, somebody else with a brighter colored jersey than they wear, and you're just like, hey, that's perfectly fine, right? That'll get me through until the next game is played. Jason, what's your thoughts about this whole Texas Ohio State thing, man?
Cry me a river, bro.
Can I just interrupt for just a second? Blimp accident. That's my real thoughts on the game.
The Goodyear blimp is kind of out of there.
Just careening
anyway.
Careening into the field. I could really be down for that.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt anybody. But it'd screw up the game. Be fun.
Well, blimp accident.
Yeah, listen, man. 6 in one and half a dozen in the other. I'm always rooting for Texas to get beat, but you almost kind of hope that there's all this Big Ten talk is starting to get on my nerves a little bit about how it's the best conference. Did you see what Lincoln said, or not Lincoln, but Urban said today? That the Big Ten is better than the SEC now because of him.
Because of Urban or
yes.
Lincoln Riley?
Urban.
Oh, because of Urban.
Urban said he's the reason that the Big Ten
cocktail
is
waitress is better in Jacksonville because of
Urban.
Urban?
Fingers, Urban. Yeah.
Sorry, that was actually in Ohio, wasn't it? Yeah. On his week off.
The old digits. Anyway.
He's such a fucking scumbag. Whatever.
Clown. Yeah, well, it's his movie. But again, I would just say, I think it'll be a fun game. I think they get beat though. I think Ohio State still has the best offensive player in the country and the best defensive player in the country. So, tough place to go play.
It's one of those things where
Texas, I probably want it in the daytime because at nighttime it's liable to get real rowdy.
That's what you want. You want that environment. You want to see. And I'm like, Texas fans, obviously they're gonna blame it on Fox, the TV deals, and that's very plausible. So I'm not saying that. So I know if anybody clips anything. So
you think they doth protest too much, that Texas is perfectly fine with the 12 o'clock kickoff?
I think that they would prefer the 12 o'clock kickoff, but I think it's going to be just as rowdy. They're used to playing at 11.
What we were talking about earlier, though, too. If you really want to fix what you think is so wrong with college football, centralize the fucking scheduling, bro.
Yeah,
fix it.
NFL has it. So, by the way, when you're getting hammered Friday night, Labor Day weekend, Auburn Baylor is a fascinating game for us to watch. I mean,
it is fascinating.
I mean,
I thought we was going to get the Kansas and UTEP or Kansas Buffalo or something like that, or Kansas.
Well, that's week 0, and even week 0 has a entertaining as shit Iowa State K-State game in Dublin. What the hell are those two teams playing in Dublin for?
Who's playing in Dublin?
Iowa State and K-State are playing a conference game week 0 in Dublin.
Damn, you know what? That kind of concerns me for both of them in the Big 12, and I was picking K-State to win it. Now I'm not so sure. That trip doesn't seem to help anybody.
No.
It helped Georgia Tech last year. Come on, man.
Did it? They went 8-4. That's helpful.
Well, that was good for them. I live in Atlanta. That was good for them. They were happy with that.
Attack of the Clones.
Emilio, tell us how you feel in the comments.
I'm just saying, when you think Guinness, do you immediately go to K-State? When I'm knocking back a pint of Guinness, I'm thinking, I want to see Farmageddon in Dublin. I mean,
Farmageddon.
There's no potato famine going on. They don't need 2 ag schools there to help figure out what's going on with the agriculture. Ireland's in good shape, man.
What are the cultural ties? What are the cultural ties except for Guinness and bourbon, right? Maybe.
Anybody, that don't even matter.
I'm just saying that, Notre Dame's gone there.
Coach enjoyed it, and they didn't have a great season after they went.
Northwestern, has gone there. There's, I'm just saying this is 2 pretty, this isn't exactly when you think of Ireland, you think of Boston. You want to make some obvious connections like Boston College. Sure,
Coach went to that game when they played Navy over there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great environment, but Farmageddon in August in Dublin.
It's a little weird.
I mean,
it may be raining over there.
You have to do it with another conference mate, because otherwise, then you're screwing over one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but and then Friday night also you have Georgia Tech, Colorado. That's it. That's an interesting game.
Georgia Tech, Colorado?
Yeah.
Is it?
Georgia Tech's pretty good.
Oh, you definitely want to see what
we like.
So is going to be like.
We want to see what Coach Prime's going to be without Hunter and his son quarterback, right? I mean, that's a lot of turnover for that team.
We believe in no Haynes King, do we?
I think he's a very good college quarterback. I mean, but he's not a pro guy. He's not elite, but he's a very effective college quarterback for the offense they run. I see a lot of Tech football here in Atlanta. That's all I'm saying.
Avery Johnson Heisman kickoff game.
I'm seriously. I mean, like the purple.
I like Avery Johnson a lot.
Neilio says, "I'm a proud K-State alum, but not in a million years would I attend a game in Ireland. Been there twice, but to watch a football game, F that. The Avery Johnson Heisman kickoff game, no." I get that.
I mean, Iowa State's lost. I mean, it's a fascinating game because it literally could decide the Big 12, right? I mean, the Big 12 is so wide open.
Absolutely.
That game, we could be like, what's our tiebreaker? It's the flippin' Duncan. It's the Dublin Guinness game that they played week 0. Clearly, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Utah and ASU and everybody else.
The Cowboys, are you saying so he can't throw? Is that what you're saying?
Okay.
He can't go down the field.
But he doesn't have to throw. Their offense is built on the running game and their
help
QB
me out
run
here,
game.
Unc. Help me out of here. Unc sure has gotten quiet on the conversation of DG lately.
Nobody is. Look, Shadur is going to take that job, guys. Look, guys, we've been on here an hour and 42 minutes. We gave you an hour's worth of recruiting. We talked about college football, changing up some things, and we gave you the best coverage on Bentley versus O'Neal out there, other than Jason's earlier stuff this week, his great stuff with talking to Jaden directly and all that. We gave you the best inside scoop on that you find anywhere else.
Listen, shout out to O'Neal for being so open about it with us.
Man. We asked some people in the chat as well, so definitely feel like we can plant that flag, right?
TG for president.
With that being said, look, here's our podcast, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with Jason and the Coach, Sooners 360. Check out all the content that these guys are pushing out. Please get over there to the Patreon website for Chris Mason. Check out him on Twitter. He's tweeting constantly about all this recruiting stuff. So if you don't,
about to get hot. It's about to get hot.
So definitely, you don't necessarily have to just come here to hear it. You can actually go on Twitter, listen to it for yourself. And obviously, Jason's on damn near every single day. So if you want a show in the morning, you want a show in the evening, you want that, hit up Jason. Go over there with Jason. And shout out to the coach, man. Gotta shout out to the coach. So that being said, people, we are out of here.